Friends, so I'm actually so humbled to share the stage. I programmed this event. I put myself here on the stage too, which I'm kind of second guessing that after the past couple of days of just nonstop running around and work, putting on this festival. It's been, labor of love, and that's absolutely the truth. And I couldn't have done it without, some of my organizing partners, Joseph Hughes over there, Jesse Sloan, and Todd Guyman, and the folks at Go Media for just getting my back while I was spending so much time and effort putting on this thing. It's my pure passion here. So and this talk is something I gave in Georgia a month or two ago for a design conference about what makes a designer popular. And popularity is something that has fascinated me for a while. I kind of was not one of the popular kids. I say that, of course, because most artists that I ever talk about, like to say how dorky they were. It's kind of a cool thing to say. I used to be a nerd. Lady Gaga said that. I used to be a nerd in high school, and it's published in People magazine. So, but why am I talking about this? I'm just fascinated about it. I was listening to some psychology lectures on this Yale website from Paul Bloom, and he talks about essentialism and this concept of why people like what they like. And I was just like, wow, people like what they like for the reasons that they do not even suspect of themselves. People like the bands that they like, because their friends like it. They tend to like what their friends like. Or why do people like modern art? Why do people like cannibalism? Well, cannibalism obviously is something that's very off-putting, but people still eat people in certain certain cultures, and they eat people not because it tastes good, but because they feel like that they're consuming the soul of whatever that they're chowing down on. And not that I have any personal experience, although I haven't seen Cannibal Holocaust yet, but I've heard it's pretty good. It's pretty realistic, but anyway. So what is popularity exactly? Well, let me tell you about this essentialism concept. This essence that people feel like they have, this soul. Why do people pay millions of dollars for the baseball that Barry Bonds hit out of the park when he broke the record or something like that? Why do people pay thousands of dollars for Britney Spears socks that fell off, or that they found on the side of a limo or something like that? And why do people like modern art? Because they feel like that they're connecting inside the mind of the artist. They feel like what is that person thinking in that painting? Has anybody ever seen the documentary My Kid Could Paint That? That's such an awesome documentary. It's about why, a little girl named Marla, I don't know, she was 6, 7 years old, painting these abstract pieces of art, and then word got around that she was, doing really great work. It took a couple collectors to kind of put her on the map. Before you know it, she became a household name. Her paintings selling for, hundreds of thousands of dollars to crazy art collectors in New York. And then the word got out that, that there was doubt that maybe her father, who was an aspiring painter, was painting the paintings, and then all of a sudden popularity went completely south. So it's why people like it, not because, oh, it's great composition of color and form and shape. It's people like it because it's a 6-year-old girl. What's inside her mind? How can she do this? What is she thinking? People have this obsession with childlike wonder. And so the definition, let's talk about the definition of popularity, just so this puts this into context. So first of all, popularity is relative. Johnny Cupcakes is, I feel really popular amongst people I know, but you walk down the street, someone might not know who that is at all. I mean, well, at this point, you probably walk down the street and everybody knows who Johnny Cupcakes is by now. But so it's really about who, in certain circles, in the web development sphere, you got certain companies that are really popular and looked at as the legends or the pioneers, the folks that are List Apart, those guys are sort of the legends in that field. Illustration and any other type of graphic design. And music, depending on what genre you listen to. You can listen to the most obscure shit, and then such and such is the king of that obscure shit. Somebody was telling me some hardcore whistle music, in the Netherlands. And there's a few bands in that scene that but this one band is a legend, and everybody knows about them. So they've started it all over there. And being popular is being recognizable. When people see your work, everyone recognizes you've got a household name. Your brand is out there, and your reputation. If you have a reputation of being popular, then people will think you're popular. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean popular is well liked. You know, some of the most popular kids in your high school were some of the most like disliked people by a lot of people. But if you were asked like who was the popular kids, there might be a unanimous decision, like a unanimous vote of like these certain people. Do you like them? Well, no, but everybody else does. That's kind of what they think. So let's talk about the design scene. So putting on Weapons of Mass Creation Fest, you know, I kind of, growing up, okay, Bill at Go Media likes to call me, you know, my business partner, Bill, he likes to call me the media whore of Go Media, because I kind of am obsessed with the internet and obsessed with Twitter and Dribble and like, you know, page views and traffic and driving traffic and follower counts and likes and all that kind of stuff. How do we get popular on the internet? I spend most of my days making products and then trying to make them popular, like get them out there in the world, get people to buy them. And so let's talk about popularity in the design scene. Like typically in any sort of subculture, design, music, whatever, the most talented bunch are kind of at an advantage. They kind of rise to the top. If you're talented in any sort of group, you know, in high school it was like the popular kids were about what clothes you wore and all that type of stuff, but then as you graduate and you get into your career, like popularity sort of surges to the people that are doing it the best. Like you look up to the best illustrator, the best people at hand lettering and all that kind of stuff. And you look on Dribble and sites like Designspiration and Found, you know, and you see really, really talented stuff. It's very rare you'll see mediocre work become popular. And the most vocal, any message board that you see out there, the person with 5,000, 50,000 posts is typically considered like the leader of that platform. And whether they're talented or not, they can have a voice, and they put a lot of effort into it. They're very vocal. They have a lot of opinions, and a lot of times the popularity means from being generous, giving back to the community, and you know, if you put your heart and soul out there, a lot of especially in like any community like MTs or Minties, the people that offer up their insight and their knowledge, like Johnny Cupcakes, for instance, keep going back to him. He's very forthright with what he knows and what his experiences were and his failures, and he's kind of looked up to. And I think that a lot of young kids starting clothing lines aspire to be somebody like him. So, you know, and that leads me to my next point: leaders. They're leaders and inspirations. So let's talk about the anatomy of a popular designer. Two of these are here at WMC Fest, and one of them will hopefully be here next year. Jessica Hish. She originally penciled in yes for us this year, but then had a bunch of crazy commitments because she's probably, you know, one of the most popular designers out there, was in demand, speaking at conferences every single month. But so let's talk about, I just picked these people at random because James Signal Noise, he's coming up after me. You know, I look at him as someone, he's very popular in my circle of vision. You know, when I'm surfing Twitter, you know, and the people that read our blog entries and the blogs that I read, he's always there, he's everywhere. And same with Chuck Anderson. I mean, I grew up, he did like the album cover for Fall Out Boy, and at that point I was like, this guy is huge. Like the Chicago Bears, Reebok, like this guy has got, you know, how does he get there? How do we get those types of projects? I'm sure everybody was wondering that during Chuck's talk, like, Reebok, really? Or the Chicago Bears when they're going on the Super Bowl? Like, where do you get that? So first of all, let's talk about the 10 things that I think like symbolize, or what a popular designer embodies. Like, first of all, you got to be good. Like, none of those people are not talented. They're very good at what they do. James White, for example, awesome illustrator. You know, really looking forward to his talk coming up after me. Jessica Hish, she's been referenced many times in this conference and last year too. Amazing illustrator and typographer. And Chuck Anderson. I should have had up this picture of Lisa Frank, Trapper Keeper, up here to continue the trend. But another trick to popularity is volume of work. The more work you do, the more opportunities you have to become well known. And this is something that you can't really control. If you're just starting out, chances are you don't have much of a chance against someone who's already 10 years in the industry. All the contacts that they've met, all the relationships that they've established, all the friends that they've made, all the conferences that they've attended or spoke at. They've just had the luxury of years in the business to gain, you know, notoriety. And I looked at it, interestingly enough, a lot of my peers now are starting businesses here in Cleveland. They're opening up retail shops. I mean, it was a dream of mine 10 years ago. I want to design the logo for that new restaurant. Why aren't we getting those types of projects? I want to design or I want to work for the city of Cleveland, or I want to work for the Cavaliers or something like that. And then now peers of mine are starting their own businesses, and then they're asking their friends, which is us, to design their logo, and we're doing things together. It's like our young creative generation is like painting the face of Cleveland coming up, and I kind of joke around that it's only a matter of time before we're corrupted in the government and giving each other favors, and because you know all those people are they just know they're just giving favors to their friends, and they've been in politics, they've been in the city for decades, you know. So it's like it's hard for a young person like us to kind of go up and compete with those types of people and really take advantage. So I think experience comes a long way. Just doing it and just as years go by, you get more well known, the harder you work. And so visibility, be everywhere. I'm having a hard time doing that this weekend, but especially on Twitter. Like I wish I could be posting on Twitter all the time this weekend. I haven't even got a chance to really see what people are tweeting. And I mean, fortunately, I've got some people tweeting on the WMC Fest account, so I can go look back on it. But just constantly being out there, there's people that post on Twitter all day. Joseph. Don't tell your boss. You're admirable in the fact that like when you came on board as an organizing partner and helped me out, I was like floored that somebody that I felt had such a reputation would want to be part of something I started. And I feel like that was my impression of that was because I felt like you were everywhere. Like North Coast Zeitgeist was like all over the place in my field of vision. And you were unselfish. And so many people here at WMC Fest are unselfish, sharing their ideas, their talents, their insights, their mistakes, and being nice. Don't be an asshole. And being trendy is a topic that has kind of come up a lot. Do you kind of realize what's trendy out there with Dribble, with Behance, with Found, with Designspiration, and the bunch of other sites like that? There's trend whoring and then there's trend setting, and I feel like you kind of have to do a little bit of both. You have to balance it, especially when you work for clients who recognize what's hot out there in the market. Like I still get requests from people starting a clothing line that they want to make it look like Affliction. And or Ed Hardy, or put rhinestones on the shoulders and all that stuff. But I made a blog post about that, make it look like Affliction, in 2007, and that's been on our blog for 5 years now, and we still get people wanting to look like Affliction. Like it's just now coming around to their farm town in wherever they live, and that's like the coolest thing, Like Cleveland doesn't get all the cool stuff for a few years after New York gets it, but. Actually, no. New York doesn't get stuff like WMC Fest, so that is cool. Actually, no offense to all the New Yorkers in the house, Jesse, Arrington, you guys over there, Brooklyn Beta, big inspiration to us, and all those crew. There's some awesome people here from New York, so I love what you guys are doing. So, but I got a lot of hometown pride. So anyway, this is the popular page of Dribble. This is the popular page of Designspiration. Popular page of Behance, and you kind of see what is trendy. And if you want to be popular, make work like this will help boost you up. Like even if it's like not your style, for example. I mean, this is how you explore styles. You like look at what's cool and what inspires you. You make stuff like it. Like you steal like an artist, as Austin Kleon says. You browse what's popular and what is catching on, and then you have a chance of making work that could go viral on the internet. I mean. Not that every creative solution requires you to make something that looks cool, that just goes viral. I mean, it has to have meaning, and I'll get to that. So, another part of being popular is who you know, and if you happen to be lucky friends with someone like James White or Jessica Hish, and you're just getting out of school, and they happen to tweet out a link to your portfolio and give you props, then you've got a good head start amongst a lot of other people who don't have that advantage of knowing somebody famous. If you happen to be a kid, 16-year-old kid making videos on YouTube, and then somebody like Jay-Z or Usher tells the world about how then you could be like Justin Bieber and become popular overnight. And number 7 is being relevant. Like once you finally get to know your audience, you put out work that is relevant to that audience. Angry Blue, one of my favorite illustrators, gave me this tip. Like, he puts out work that he knows he's gonna please his fans with, and he'll sell out of posters, and he doesn't change up his style too much. Aaron Horkey, another example, amazing illustrator. He puts out work that he knows is gonna sell out of. He doesn't really change up his style too much. He's got it, and it's relevant, and it means something to his audience. And and Johnny Cupcake's another example. He makes stuff that he knows will strike a chord with his audience, and then make them camp out for 4 days. And so, like, while releasing limited edition, he knows it's relevant. They feel like they believe in his brand, and he knows it, and he's able to touch those points with his fan base. And number 8, cleverness. I mean, you make work that looks cool. As Jackie Biebenroth, the first speaker today, she had a cool graph of it looks cool is the first thing, and I forget the second thing. And then the third thing was it strikes a chord. The second thing was something about being clever, like it has a good idea. Oh, it wins awards. So it's easy to make work that looks cool. Anybody with a shred of talent can make work that looks cool. And I think that's where we all start. And then we get to the point where we're like, my work looks cool, but it doesn't have any soul to it. So you start putting a clever twist on things. And Glenn Jones, man, this guy is an animal. I wish I could show like a whole presentation on his work. It's so awesome. And not even have to talk. I just let it play. But yeah, so he's got an awesome illustration ability. He's talented. He's so well executed as illustration. I mean, anybody here who's into that can appreciate it. But of course, he puts his clever spin on it. He's done that. He's made a name for himself. He is so smart. And Rob Dobie, I love it when he illustrates his scenesters, the crunk core poser. So he's got a site called Your Scene Sucks, where he makes fun of music subcultures and stuff like that, a little tongue in cheek. So like the obnoxious trends out there. I think this is a Chuck Anderson hoodie that he just. And recognition. If you win those awards, you get listed in How Magazine. You get listed as a 30 under 30 or something like that. You're going to get a boost in your profile. You're going to get that New York Times job that seems like a lot of our speakers here have been able to get. You're going to get those editorial jobs for Time Magazine. And and at Go Media, a lot of our designers want that type of recognition. Like, it's been a passion of ours to try to like win some awards. Like, maybe if we win some awards, we'll get some more work. Maybe if we get featured in print magazine, clients will finally recognize that we're worth hiring. And it's a weird balance. Do you design to solve the problems for the client? Do you design something that you believe in, or do you design something that you think is going to win awards? But there's one thing that's for sure: you win awards, people know about you, and that's why so many people fight for awards. That's why there's such things as the Oscars and the Addies and all sorts of things that people want to get recognized. And side projects, whether you are swallowing fire or putting on stuff like WMC Fest or playing in a band or whatever it is, so many people here talk about their side projects and how they were making money, but with their day job, but then they had all these other awesome ideas that they wanted to start, and or they find a need in their circle of friends that isn't being filled. Like, man, I really wish we had this or that, and then fill that need, and then you become like sort of this savior to that people who need that. Whether it doesn't take an amazing invention, but pursuing side projects, at least for us at Go Media, has been like our way of really branching out, making ourselves different than most design firms. Whether we have our own products that we're selling, digital products, our own illustration, or writing our articles or tutorials for our blog, and starting little simple things like fail sticker. A couple years ago, when the word fail was all over the internet before it got trite and cliche, we had printed transparent stickers with impact font, said fail on it, and we were just posting it up on various things that we thought would be clever. And we sold those in bulk, and actually wholesale companies, and catalogs were buying those from us, and we sold like 30,000 stickers. And then we're like, this is taking up too much of our time. We're at Go Media, we're trying to like design stuff, and we're busy shipping out fail stickers to the UK. And so we're like, okay, maybe not all side projects are really that relevant, but so we quickly got out of that, and we actually sold the business, the fail sticker business, before it died, before the whole fail meme got played out. So this is Jessica Hitch. She has a page of side projects on her website. If anybody's been here, you can scroll down. She's got like 30 side projects. And they're like all like amazing on their own. I mean, don't fear the internet, like a little basic HTML and CSS guide for people who don't really know how to make websites. And you know, a website that connects designers with printers, like that's a need in your niche that like other designers need, and she filled it. I mean, what an awesome solution. She's got an infographic. It says, should I work for free? I mean, that's a question so many people ask. I'm sure all the time she spoke at conferences, people asked that question to her. So she made an awesome, super sweet looking infographic that, you know, got popular all over Pinterest and all over, you know, Facebook and stuff like that. And it's great exposure for her work, you know, like the more side projects, these personal investments you make, doing things that you're passionate about, really spell out your personality to the community out there, and people really get to know you, and I feel like that helps boost people's brand recognition. So I'm going to close with just 5 tips from my personal experience as the social media whore at GoMedia. Be everywhere, be nice, and be yourself. I mean, at this point, it's pretty common sense. Everybody seems to be talking about this. It's just common sense. Stop trying to be like other designers. Be like yourself. I mean, everyone's got an awesome story to tell, and the more honest and authentic you can be, the more transparent, and the more you give back. And stop begging for likes. I mean, I've been reading a lot of articles lately about the omnipresence of like buttons and tweet this and share that all over every single web page, kind of cluttering up the internet. And so there's been posts that are like pointing to all these things that says stop begging for likes. Like you have this blog article that's like, you know, two paragraphs long, and then you've got like, you know, tweet this, and it's got like 2 tweets on it, and you're like, and other people read that, and then they just kind of see that it's just this. It's not that impressive, but if it only has 2, or if it has 300, it's like, wow, you know, you kind of have a lot of self-importance on this post. I kind of go both ways on this thing. You know, we're developing a new website at GoMedia, which I think just launched on Friday, gomedia.us. But we were debating internally, do we put like buttons on our page? And you know, our web developer absolutely hates them. He's like, no, it takes an extra 5 seconds to load. It's too many media queries or too many HTTP requests. You know, he's got a good point. It does slow things down. And is it really relevant? Because people, if you make something likable, people are going to share it. They know how to copy and paste the URL to your project and post it on Facebook. And if they do, they have to say something about it in order to make it relevant, rather than just passively clicking the like button. So as I say this, I probably have like buttons on lots of things. So I'm kind of in this transition period. You know, as you saw like dig buttons fade out, you saw delicious buttons sort of fade out. You know, you're going to see that with Facebook and Twitter as it gets more omnipresent. And stop trying to be interesting and be interested. And I take kind of blame for this. I blame myself too. A couple of years ago, I saw Danielle DeBow, awesome Clevelander here, I think on the cover of Cleveland magazine as one of the most interesting people in Cleveland. And I had a tinge of jealousy, like, wow, man, I want to be one of the most interesting people in Cleveland. Like, what can I do? You know, what kind of things can I do to make myself more interesting? And I mean, you know, after I kind of felt like I grew up a little bit more and matured a little bit more, I realized it's like what makes me interesting is just being interested in other people, and stop trying to be too extroverted. You know, like I'm an introverted person at heart, and we kind of grow up feeling this need that we have to go out and express ourselves all the time and be very vocal and go get it, you know, go get that American dream. And but being introverted is cool. I mean, it's got its benefits, and be a good listener to people. And if you comment on other people's blogs, you listen, you promote other people more than you promote yourself, I think that you're going to go a long way in really riling up an awesome fan base. So don't wait for an invite to the party. Host your own. And I kind of got this quote from a really spammy webinar about how to make your book a bestseller. It was I self-published a book, my book about the apparel industry. I self-published it on Lightning Source, and as a publisher, self-publisher, you get like hordes of solicitations from people trying to capitalize on those wannabe authors who are trying to become an author, you know, make it. So I got a solicitation for, you know, make your book a bestseller. Just sign up for this free webinar. And it sounded so spammy, but then I was like, you know, I'm going to check this out anyway and make sure it's not spammy, guys. I'm just going to make sure. And, you know, but secretly I was like, I wonder what their secret is. So I was I listened to the whole thing. It was extremely spammy, but they had some heart to it. They had a good point. It was like, you know, you put a book out there and you're waiting for other people to post about it. You put your illustration up there, you wait for other people to, you have all these blogs that feature awesome content. You want to be on Friends of Type, but you know, you can't get up there. So you're waiting for that invite. And before I started WMC Fest, I got involved in a lot of other people's fests. There's a fest down in Gainesville simply called The Fest. It's like the punk rock mecca in my world. And I had done t-shirt designs for them, you know, volunteer. I just really wanted to be part of their thing going on. So much of my favorite bands. And then locally they had a lot of DIY punk fests here, Berea Fest and DIT Fest. And I was a huge fan, and I really wanted to become part of their culture. And you know, I was an outsider looking in. So I participated. I gave my illustration abilities up. I wanted to experiment, do awesome work. I did their posters, I did their t-shirts. But something didn't quite fit right. Like I felt like I was still an outsider looking into this scene that, you know, I really wanted to be a part of, but I didn't feel like I quite belonged. Like I wasn't as, like, all these kids like weren't cool, but like I didn't feel like I was cool enough to join the uncool kids. and it was kind of weird. I mean, they were like pretty supportive, but then after a while, I feel like I was graining on them because I had like ideas of doing awesome, you know, kind of taking it to the next level. And I mean, these people, it was their festival, you know. I needed to respect that. So I wanted to start my own fest, and that thought occurred to me. Like I was just like, these people my peers are starting fests. These kids are 18 and they're starting awesome fests with like 30 of their favorite bands, and they're coming and they're making a big statement. And people are coming in from out of town to go to their fest, and I was so inspired by that because these people are just like not even out of high school yet, and they're like making impact in the community, and they're going to be on that documentary 10, 15 years from now that talked about like the awesome uprising of like a DIY punk scene in Cleveland or in the Midwest. And it's like, that just to me is inspiring. Like when I watch those types of documentaries and I see those talking heads, like the founder of Epitaph Records or something like that, like that guy was just someone just like us that was like just kicking ass in the scene, just doing stuff for his friends, putting out the records. And you know, he eventually turned into Epitaph, and they're a major, awesome, inspiring label. So host a party, like do it yourself and get other people involved, and I think that you'll be well on your way. And finally, the more you give, the more you get. I talk about this. This is kind of sums up my talk. And you guys coming out here to WMC Fest and interacting with people and all the speakers, which I'm so humbled to be a part of. They're really pushing their stuff out there, and they're going to get a lot of you know, a lot in return. And same thing goes for you guys. My college professors told me this, oh, you know, to get a job out of this major, the more you put into it is what is what you're going to get out of it. And I was like, oh, I don't really feel like putting that much into it because it's not that fun. Like I was doing computer animation, and I would spend 3 weeks on a project, and it would look like that General, 1-800-GENERAL now. I'm like, this is absolutely horrible. Like this is not Pixar. This isn't like Jurassic Park. Like that's what I want to be doing. So I got out of that. So, and I'm glad I did. So, thanks guys. We have like 2 minutes for questions. Anybody have anything they want to say? Yeah.
I was wondering if you could speak to the difference between popularity and success.
Okay.
And
That is. Oh yeah, we are struggling that with at Go Media. To be very transparent, I feel like we're very popular, but financially successful is another thing, and that's definitely. You got to strike that balance. It's so hard. It's so hard to find that balance, especially when you know you care about like being liked and you care about making an impression on people, and like you can measure success on like how much you've impacted somebody. Okay, you can say so many people have like been inspired by WMC Fest, and that's a huge success for me. But does it like pay the bills? Does it like, you know, put a roof over your head? I mean, no. Like you have to. It's just a labor of love. So it's like you can measure success by different things, and I think we all have to make money, and we're trying to figure out how to make money and make people happy and do the things that help define our other measures of success. So you know, being popular is one thing. Being profitable is another thing. You can be popular because you offer the the sweetest free T-shirt line out there. Everybody's got one. But you can't make a living doing that. You have to charge money. You have to like financially be successful. And what was your other definition?
Well, it was success, money.
Okay. So yeah, and so if anybody's got any ideas how to make $10 million a year doing design services for clients, I'd like to know. So because our employees are having babies now, and they're kind of they needed a little extra money. So anyone else? Yes.
Yeah. So, of the 10 things that you mentioned to focus on, what has been the most challenging or required the most focus for Go Media or yourself?
Let's see, what were those 10 things? Gosh, I don't know. Like, when it comes down to it, we just try to make stuff that we like to do and then share it with the world and hope people like it. And, you know, we found an awesome bond with fellow designers through the years. Sharing our process, we've really been able to connect with the design community, and that has been like, you know, something that we really feel like is a big part of us, and that we want to keep serving. And we just want to make stuff that we feel like the design community likes, and people like us like. And whether that's products that people buy, or events that people go to, or experiences that people have like on the internet, or you know, whatever, like to us, that's what we want to focus on. So, I mean, that's definitely a challenge, and it encompasses all those 10 things. You know, this is just part of our existence. Do you have time for any more? Is that it? Okay, well, thanks guys. I love you.